anybody. Doesn't matter. And I'm getting more and more younger people these days. How many of you have taken the Oprah Winfrey Hanger Challenge this year? How many people know what it is? Take every item in your closet and turn the hanger around. As you wear it, put it back the correct way. In 6 months, all those backward hangers, find something to do with them. Simple and easy. Second thing, you want me to just, okay. Second thing is, by the way, these are steps to declutter your life. And if we declutter our life, it makes our life much easier. Schedule time to do this. One of the reasons that we don't do it is we never have enough time. So schedule it as an appointment like you would schedule any other appointment to get something done. The next thing is, January 1st, every store, Home Depot included, what do they put on sale? Storage cabinets, pretty boxes, pink ones, yellow ones, white ones. There's commercials all over the place. Don't buy them on January 1st, because otherwise everything you have is going to go in them. Go through, declutter, then buy them. And then you only buy what you need. Oh, no, thank you. Maybe box. How many people have a maybe box? You're not sure what to do with something. You think you want to keep it? Maybe it was somebody in the family. Okay. Every 6 months, clean out that maybe box. If it's still in there, you don't need it. Okay? When it's bagged, get rid of it. If you go through and you sort, and it's either for donation or discard or whatever, get it out of your house. Because otherwise you're going to be going to go somewhere and you're like, oh, I know where that shirt is. It's in here. And you take it out, you iron it, you never get rid of it.
Iron it?
Steam it. Steam it. Paperwork. That's the biggest job I have when I meet with these people. Paperwork. I found one woman, Cocoa Beach, had tax returns from 1957. That's the year I was born. Closets and closets. In January, go through all your papers from last year, save your year-end statements, shred everything else. Best investment you can make is a shredder. How many people have a junk drawer? How many people have 2? 3? It's my point. Go through it. Pick a project, start small, get it done. The last thing is, a lot of you are here with your friends. When you're decluttering or going through something, have a friend over. Swap. Give them your stuff and let them take care of it. Okay? And the other option you can do to that is,
when I said we were going to do something special, because you are now going to go home and have a month to declutter your entire world, next month we are going to have a swap meet here. So yes, on the Thursday and Friday, the Friday and Saturday ahead of time, we are going to be here. Let me just see what time we're going to be here. It's 10 to 5 on Friday, the 24th, and on Saturday from 9 to 12. You can bring your purses, you can bring your jewelry, you can bring your clothing, you can bring your shoes. We are going to have this whole place set up then with all the things that you bring. You'll get a ticket for everything you bring. You get half as many if you're not a chamber member, because we have to make this special for chamber members. And so you'll be able to drop things here. We'll give you a raffle ticket for every piece that you bring in, and please do not bring in 100 items. Just saying. And then we are going to, just so that you're aware, we're going to look at the purses, because we do have the hats, handbags, and horses. So the very nice purses we're going to use for that event. I'm not taking all of them, I don't mean that, but just in case you don't see your stuff. And then we'll come here and have this big swap meet, next Businesswomen of Brevard. So on the 28th, right here is when we'll have the swap meet. So you'll be able to use your tickets, and it's a 1-for-1. 1 ticket, you get 1 piece of jewelry, 1 ticket, you get a pair of shoes, 1 ticket, you get a purse, a piece of clothing. And whatever you don't want is going to Molly Mudd Thrift Store for the Humane Society. They are a chamber partner. They're just down the road from here, so do not feel badly if you do not want to come and get more clutter, if you just want to get rid of things. If you have extra that, and please make sure that they're fairly nice items. We're looking for things just like a consignment store without stains and broken jewelry. And yes, you had a question? Those are the drop-off days. You can't bring it that morning because it'll be crazy. So if you can come the Friday and the Saturday here, we'll have everything set up. We're going to have the table set up to start putting the jewelry on, the purses and that. If you can't make it, maybe somebody else can drop the things off for you and get the tickets. So it will be here. We'll be all set up. And then when we come on the Tuesday, everything's going to be ready to go. I do have one request. If anyone wants to volunteer to help during that time, we would love to have you. Or if you have rolling racks, I have 2, obviously way too many clothes. But if you have any rolling racks, we are going to need them. Otherwise, we might be stringing clotheslines amongst these poles here, and that might work too. But if you do have any that you can let us borrow for the, just like the few days, then that would be terrific. So, any other questions on that? Yes, Dave. Yes, we need them on hangers, yeah, just so that we're going to do it all by size, so that when you come in, if your size 2s are in one side and up to whatever we have. And so I think that's what's going to be neat, is that we all have things. We've talked about this, Avery and I have talked about this, we need to swap clothes for the same size. So I think this will be a fun thing. I already started because Carolyn gave me the heads up that I needed to hear her presentation, because I have the 3 or 4 junk drawers. So anyway, so please put that on your calendar. It's going to be very important. So moving on.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, next month. We continue next month. So please make sure you're here. And since we did have an interruption, I failed to thank the steering committee. Who's the steering committee? Please stand up and take a round of applause. Go on. I know you're here. Come on, steering committee. Thank you so much. Thank you. Nothing happens without help. We all know that. Nothing happens without that. Absolutely. Oh, look at that. They're moving seats. I like that. Okay, Tracy, then we go with you. What is the most common mistake you see small business owners make?
Most of the time, it's not having a plan. They kind of just have this entrepreneurial seizure and go into business and they're passionate about stuff, but they don't really have a plan. And so when Nancy asked me about being here, she wanted me to talk a little bit about time management, because time management is a really important tool that you need when you own your own business. You've got so many things that you're doing, you got to make sure that all your ducks are in a row. And one of the things that I do every year for time management and looking at my activities and things like that is analyze partnerships, activities, vendor, suppliers, things of that nature. And I'll give you a couple examples of how this can affect your bottom line. My cell phone plan. Every year, I go to my provider and look at the contracts and see what's happening with that and see if there's a better deal. The last time I did it, I saved $1,200 just because I was able to negotiate a better deal. They're not going to call you and say, oh, hey, we got a better deal, we can save you money. They don't do that. So if you can analyze those agreements, that's a way to help you save money, impact your bottom line, and keep you on your game. Activities are also another thing. We only have 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, and most of us work all of those times, right? We sleep very little. You want to manage your activities accordingly and make sure that those activities are productive. How many of you spend a lot of time doing busy work it's things that tasks or meetings that really aren't going to impact your bottom line? Do you spend a lot of hours every week doing that kind of stuff? So you want to analyze those things, and that's important. Numbers. How many of you know your numbers from last year? And I'm not talking about your blood pressure and that kind of stuff. I'm talking about what was your sales for the year, and what's the average income of a new client. What does that number represent? And how long does it take you to get a new client? Those are all things that you want to look at, because then you can say, am I investing my time in the right areas with the right people and making the biggest impact to my bottom line? That's how having a plan can help. Another thing that I like to do is I always theme my year. I come up with a strategy. Last year in 2016, my plan was to focus and grow. Every activity that I did, every engagement that I was asked to be at or whatever, I said, is this going to bring me new clients? Is this going to create more visibility for the advertisers on my website? Is this going to grow my business, grow my audience? Is it going to reach consumers? And if I couldn't answer yes to those questions that I'd figured out ahead of time, then the answer was no, I can't do that. That's not the best use of my time. The other thing is setting goals. You really want to be able to set goals, and the reason that you want to have goals is so that you can measure your activities and strategies that you implement.
Thank you so much. You don't have to move, Marty. Marty, you and I have spoken several times before. How do I know I'm stuck? What are the signs that I know I'm doing the same thing over and over and not getting anywhere?
Well, thank you. One of the signs, as a transformation strategist and working with hundreds of entrepreneurs, to be able to break through where they're stuck and they're struggling, and be able to turn that overwhelm that you feel into confidence. How you know that you're stuck is that anyone here feel frustrated? Anyone here have that coming up over and over and over again? And you may think it's kind of like part of just normal routine. But the thing is that when you really analyze your frustration, one of the 5 keys to avoid burnout is going to be able to join a new fad that I've got going on around here. And the fad is spelled F-A-D-D, all right? You're going to feel, you're going to align, you're going to decode, and you're going to decide. Because you see, I went from being stuck and struggling, I went from being worth over $1 million to having just $7.41 in my bank account, like 6 weeks before Christmas one time. And my children were older, but Christmas is Christmas. And by getting what I call my PhD in procrastination, I figured it out, right? I figured out what that stuck and struggling is all about. And if you don't know how you feel, then you're not going to be able to move forward. So it's really learning how to, as I say, join the fad. And the other thing is for you to honor and value who you are. You've been told, like me, when I was on my downhill slide, right? Marty, just love yourself. Marty, believe in yourself. Well, no kidding, right? No kidding. Of course I'm supposed to do that, but whoever taught you how? Well, I can tell you exactly how. You're going to write down your talent, your ability, and your gift. You're going to tag yourself for success, and on your table is a gift from me of that exercise, because I wanted you to be able to get started today. And when you know how talented, able, and gifted you are, then you can believe in yourself. And that's my passion, to help children and adults to believe in yourself. So no matter what happens to you, you will always know that you're okay. You see, when I hit bottom, I couldn't figure out how to get back and be successful again. I forgot who I was. And I've helped entrepreneurs to be able to break through where one real estate agent was able to increase her business 500% in 2 months. or to go from $10,000 a year to $80,000 in 6 months. It's when we push ourselves down, we forget who we are, we don't believe in ourselves. When you doubt replaces confidence, well, stuck and struggling ain't far behind. And so it's you believing in you. And the third tip would be for you to know your personality. I teach people about your personality. What is your greatest fear, your challenge? And then to be able to develop that so that you can feel confident and secure about who you are. And then to take your limiting beliefs that you have and turn them into a success ripple effect, where it's going to impact your health and your finances and your relationships. And by combining those other 3 tips. And then the 5th one is for you to have a DMO, a daily method of operation that is a quick accountability so that you know where you are and what you need to do, what's working and what's not working. So when you're frustrated, what I say, it's a team of horses, right? Picture a team of horses going down the road, and the left-hand horse keeps going ahead, and that right-hand horse decides to go to the right. Don't you feel split in half when you're frustrated, right? Well, that's you being out of integrity with yourself. That right-hand horse is doing what you don't really want to do. It's you being out of alignment with who you are. You not trusting and believing you and being a people pleaser, doing what somebody else wants. No, yeah, yes, I'd love to go to that restaurant for dinner. I can't wait, right? Or that movie. Oh yes, I've been really waiting to see that one, right? When we're people pleasers and we're not pleasing ourselves, that's when you're going to be split in half. And as a business person, you can't afford to do that anymore. You need to stay of integrity with yourself.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you. Wow. Can you tell she does that for a living? Okay, does anyone have any questions? Or I can continue asking. Who has a question for any of these ladies? How many are here self-employed? Oh, look at all the hands. Seriously, you don't have any questions? Okay, who wants to ask? Don't be shy. You have no questions? You want me to do all the questions? For God's sakes. Seriously, Marty just told you step up. You know, okay, tell us a little more about your company, Carolyn. How can you help this group? How many is your company? Where are you located? And how can we reach you? And how can you help us?
Okay, my company is me and Maria. She's the muscle. Don't let the gray hair fool you. We're based out of West Melbourne. I put my card on the table. It's a big card, it's a rec card. A lot of times people ask me to do a 15-second thing or a 30-second, and there's no way that I can talk about what I do in 15 or 30 seconds, which is why the big cards. You can reach me through my email, my cell phone. Please take a minute, look at your website, look at my website. There's testimonials on there. It is downsizing for seniors, but most of the time I'm hired by the adult children, not the seniors. And the only recommendation I have for everybody in here, most of us are women. If it's you and your mom or you and your daughter, don't attempt it. The emotional aspect of it is huge. My mom is still alive. She works my estate sales with me. Some of you know her from the chamber, Betty. I would not downsize her if it was the last opportunity I had to work. I'm in the process of downsizing myself after doing this job. And my mother comes to my house and goes, but I gave you that 30 years ago, Mom, and I've enjoyed it, but it's time to move on. When children hire me, they take that emotion out of it. Because I can say to the mom, yes, I understand how long you've had it, but it's stuff. I recently met a couple that the daughter hired me. They've been married 62 years. And the woman was a collector. Nothing specific, a collector. And I asked her, sitting with her husband and her daughter, who flew down from upstate New York, what her greatest treasure was. And she told me her Princess Diana doll. And I said, what about your spouse of 62 years? What about your daughter? She has now decided to downsize and move specifically because of that question. It's the emotional aspect, and mothers and daughters, do not try it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, Tracy. Yes, you have a, oh, she has a question. I like that. All right, Betty Lou.
Thank you. You ladies have been terrific. Enjoyed every one of you. My question to you is, you said you have now, on your own, which is something we could do. Where are you starting for yourself to downsize?
I started.
Good question. She probably is a collector herself.
I was. My mother bought it for me. I've actually been a collector of some things, and what I did, the first thing I decided to do was, I lived by myself in a 1,900 square foot house. That's ridiculous. So I put my house on the market. If anybody needs a beautiful house in West Melbourne, it's for sale. And I started room by room, as I do with my clients, just going, do I really need this? What does this give me? And what you find out, and the reason I come up with the question about the treasure is, my family, my friends, that's my treasures. Not the number of things I have hanging on the walls, the things in the drawers, and that's why I brought up junk drawers. Yes, I know Nancy has 4 of them, which is why I brought it up, but go through this stuff. I'm telling you, it is so freeing when you do it. And I held an estate sale this weekend with all the items from my house. And it was really nice when people come in and went, I love this, I need this. So just start. Some people say start with your biggest project. Some people say start with your smallest project. You know you better. If you need a lot of little steps to get there, start with your smallest project, which could be your first junk drawer.
Okay, good. Because I could keep asking questions, because I want to satisfy what I need today.
Carolyn, what would you say to somebody that is afraid to part with something because the second they part with it, they had experience that they needed it right after they let it go?
That's what the baby box is about. Because when you're sorting through, everybody says use 3 boxes. What you're going to keep, what you're going to donate, and what's going to go to a family member or a friend. The 4th box is the maybe box. You know, you haven't used it, it's been sitting in, you found it in the junk drawer and forgot you had it. The other thing that I run across is people now have 2 and 3 and 4 of the same items because they knew they had it, they knew they needed it, but they didn't know where it was. So if you say, you know, I'm an entertainer, I have a lot of company all the time, I have every serving dish, cooking dish, this dish, that dish. And what I did, went through and I said, okay, I've entertained all these holidays for a year and I didn't use this, I can do without it. And it's amazing what you find you can do without if you don't have it. So do the maybe box, 6 months later if it's still there, then it's time for it to go.
Can you speak loud?
I can't.
What? Let's try it, let's try it.
On that same note, when you're trying to let things go, and it's a sentimental item, my mother had passed away, and I had my house, basically, it was everything. And it just so happens that her clothing fits me. So I all of a sudden have, Mama was a clothes whore, I'm a clothes whore, and I have overwhelming clothes. How do I let go of those pieces?
Well, the first question is, when it's your mom, and I'm fortunate in that I still have my mom, but a lot of people I work with don't, pick through and be smart. But the other thing that I found is, this particular woman who collects everything that I finally, she has doll collections. I mean, every kind of doll, some cost $1, some cost probably $100. And the reason I found out she has this doll collection is because when she was little, she only had 1 doll. So she was raised very poor. She worked, you know, she's 80-something years old. Back then, they worked from the time they were kids. So the suggestion I gave to her was, Nana's house is opening that whole new complex over in West Melbourne. So I said, start going through the dolls And when Nana's house opens, I'm going to take her over there and let her give every girl a doll. Okay? So the daughter was like, how'd you think of that? I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just driving down the road and it's like, that's what we're going to do with that. So now you're taking your mother's legacy and passing it to somebody who has absolutely nothing. That's where you get your heart.
I mean, I like this. Who's this question for? Are you going to ask? You have a question? Wow, I'll come to the Resolution Center.
Well, actually, I'm very good at purging. However, I am an empty nester and I have 2 children that live out of the area. And I've been basically storing crates of stuff for them. Every time they come home, I have them purged. But how, what's your recommendation in getting them to release items? They're in transition. They're not living in a place permanently, so they really can't take it with them. So I really need some recommendations on how long to store this stuff.
And sell it, they'll take the money to sell it. Seriously.
I'm more than happy to do an estate sale for you and let them know that if it's not out by a certain date. Seriously, I had this woman, I was downsizing and I was cleaning out boxes and there was this wooden ship or some truck or whatever. I'm like, what is this? She goes, Paul made that for me. I said, Paul is 60. I said, what is this? And she said, oh, you made that for me. After the nasty text he sent me, because he knew it had to be my idea, and he hired me and paid for me, I said, now you can throw it out because your mother won't. So what you need to do is you need to give them a time and a date and allow them to keep, I have a child that lives in San Diego, so I know, I have some of her stuff. They're allowed to keep 1 box, 2 box, whatever it is. And then if they don't go from there, like I said, I'll set up a sale and tell them, you gotta figure it out or it's getting sold.
This is good exercise. Tracy, if you could offer one piece of advice to this group, a lot of self-employed folks here, a lot of them are extremely successful. My friend Darlene, 45 years in business. Nancy just started a new position. She's done wonderful now in 2nd year. So, but we can all use some advice. What would it be?
I would say make sure that you're working your strengths and hire your weaknesses. Align yourself with people who are really good at the things that you either don't like to do or aren't good or steal your joy. Because there's a lot of tasks that we have that are just mundane that we have to do. Those are the things that you would want to hire out.
Yes, Darlene? I teach and try to motivate and inspire young people. That's basically what I do in my business. And have you got any good tips on how to help people get a goal? That everybody just seems to live day by day, well, whatever happens, they're broke, but they can't focus. What is the good secrets to inspire someone to have a goal? And I know we can't make people do things, but I tried every trick in the book.
I start by asking lots of questions. What are the things that you like to do? How do you spend your free time? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you, what were you doing when you're 12, 13, 14 years old? Because those asking questions and getting them to talk to you and open up it's going to paint a very clear picture. And you learn a lot more by asking those questions and then just listen to what the answers are.
And along those lines is just what Tracy was saying, is you get them to write down what their talent, their ability, and gift. And there's a paper on your table for each of you, so you can start doing that today. I wanted you to be able to get going. Also, there's a yellow sheet of paper. I'm doing a webinar this Friday for you to be able to get those 5 tips in depth from me. So sign up on the yellow page, or I'll be over there at that table. But it's really getting them to see the value of who they are. When I did a workshop on Saturday for the teachers at the Fate Teacher Conference, and a teacher was questioning whether or not she should move forward with her career. And when she did that exercise and she realized the value that she gave the students, she cried. And it made her be able to stay in her profession. So really knowing their value. What is it that they want, as Tracy was saying? What did they do when they were 12? What did they love to do? So that they can value who they are and then see why they want to be a hairdresser. Because you may show that they don't. And you go, great, good, you figured that out, yay. So they can help to set their goals that way.
Ready? Tracy, because I know the conversation you had at the table, perhaps you could emphasize the success of networking, of the conversation that you had here, and maybe you could reiterate what you learned and what you're suggesting that you're going to do with that conversation.
Yeah, I just asked her to do that.
She asked about networking and the benefits of networking and how do I kind of implement that. And this morning at the table, I had met Debbie and she asked if I was going to be a speaker and I said yes. And so I asked her a little bit about her business and what she did. And based on how she responded, I asked her if she was connected with a couple different organizations, and she wasn't. And I invited her to a luncheon that we're a sponsor of, and we'll be able to make some of those connections for her. But then because of the uniqueness of her business, I am going to feature her in our new magazine because when she said that it was a hyperbarics. I only thought that was for scuba divers. I didn't realize all of the other benefits that it offers for so many different people with ailments and pains and things like that. And so I look as a publisher online and in print now, I look for those kind of unique stories. So feel free, if you know unique stories, if you have a unique business, I'm looking for that kind of stuff. Unique person? Unique people. Yeah, all of that. So as a networker and being out there in the community, part of my job, right now I represent almost 200 businesses here in the community through the magazine and online. And I take great pride in knowing those people's business, their organizations, what it is that they're looking to do with their companies, what they specialize in, and then being able to put people together to make business happen. And so that's kind of how the networking thing works for me. Does that answer the question?
Anyone else have a question for the group? Okay, yeah, networking is very important. Do not sit with the person you came with. You came to network. So those are your friends you came with. Sit at a different table. Make sure you have the conversation. If she didn't sit next to Debbie, she would not know Debbie, right? I know Debbie really well. I'll never sit next to her.
Okay, so what do you do when you're stuck in a think too big mindset? Is this for Marty?
Okay.
But you have to start small first before you can get big, you know.
Okay. How do you get out of being stuck? How do you basically pull out when the rug has been pulled from under you? You're very good at that, right? When we know there's no other way, right, Marty?
Right. Where you think too big mindset, you said? And what makes it too big? Yeah, you got the wrong group. You need to network different. No. It's really, and I'm sure, you know, everyone has some ideas, but really honor and value who you are and what your belief is. If you believe that this is possible, it is then, of course, you have to break things down to start at step one. When, you know, I say start where you are to get where you're going. If you're in kindergarten in something, it's okay. Just be in kindergarten, play. You got crayons, for Pete's sake. You know, enjoy yourself, but you know, be in kindergarten and then see what you need to do to get to graduate school. What is it you need to do to move to the next step? But just have graduate school out there, or whatever your dream is out there, and then look at, okay, I'm in kindergarten on this. What's the first step? What do I need to do? I mean, this is obvious. So, but it's really, it sounds more about you believing in yourself. Take that list home, right? Join me on the webinar on Friday. And we'll talk more about how you can really get so that you know you have what it takes for that big dream to come true.
I always suggest starting with the end in mind. So think big, but paint that picture and have all the details outlined of what it would look like if you were there today. And then you can break it down, work backwards, come up with the starting point, create your goals, look at what it's going to take, and create a roadmap to actually get you there. Now there's lots of ways to get there, but you want to go the path that's the least painful, the least amount of bumps in the road. You want to avoid all the hiccups if you can, right? But in order to do that, you got to know where you want to go. So I think big, really, really big, all the time.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we end on time. It's almost 9:30. I think those ladies will be available for a few minutes. If someone has any questions, I want to give you the opportunity to end the meeting on time, that's all. So we have one raffle to go. That's it for today because we don't want to keep you. Nancy's going to pull the card, so one lucky